While our house was being built in New Jersey, I often spoke to the tradesmen who would show up on the job. One particularly interesting person was the foreman of the crew who drilled our well. He was a simple soul, and he spoke plainly. And once he answered a question, he said very little else. After the house was finished, I ran into him at a local convenience store one morning. We were standing in line to pay for our coffee, and I asked him how the well digging business was going. With a sad face, he told me that the company had gone out of business and he had lost his job. Now, trying to be encouraging, I asked what new thing he might try. And his reply gave me pause. I've been working on a well drilling rig since I was 17. It's what I do. It's what I know. The look on his face said that he knew he was in a difficult time of his life, and he was willing to share it. And then he said, God will send me help. Today is the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The readings today ask us how we live and manage our faith. It questions whether our faith is merely a set of ideas, platitudes, and feel-good exercises that numb the unpleasant realities that we encounter. Or is our faith a call to face and engage our own suffering, as well as the suffering of others? The first reading, Sirach, reminds us that God is especially interested in those whose society marginalizes: the poor, the powerless, the defenseless. They are all special in the eyes of God. And we are asked whether our care for these special ones is limited to our prayer or an occasional special collection. Or do we see ourselves as Jesus' hands and feet doing the work of God here on earth? I thought about my conversation with the well digger. It's what I do. It's what I know. God will help me find something else. It told me that he was a man who knew who he was, knew his limitations, and knew what made him happy and fulfilled. And so how does one continue to be happy and fulfilled through hardship and suffering? Paul tells Timothy how: keeping the faith, knowing who we are, our gifts, and our limits, trusting in God that we can persist in the face of trials and injustice, even when others may desert us. And we're called to share our sufferings with others who also suffer like us. And we act in order to be true disciples of the crucified Christ. It was some months before I encountered the well digger again. We ended up in line, waiting to pay for morning coffee. So I was almost embarrassed to ask him, but I did. So how is it going with you? And he smiled and he said, I bought the company. I must have looked surprised. I told some other people about what had happened, and they helped me work out a deal with the owner, and I'll pay him for the company over time. I couldn't have done it by myself. God sent those people to help me. In the gospel today, we see two kinds of faith. First, we see the faith that believes itself to be perfect. It follows all the rules, checks all the boxes, attends to the necessary prayers and liturgies. It uses its prayer to remind Jesus of its perfection while pointing out the failures of others. It is a personal possession, focused inwardly. Then we see the faith that knows itself. It is imperfect, comes up short, makes mistakes, endures suffering, and needs help and forgiveness. This faith is unafraid to be known in its weakness because it shares that weakness with others who also suffer. It is a public faith, unafraid of being known. This faith follows the example of Christ crucified, willing to gain happiness by working through suffering. It's the faith that is willing to gain peace and comfort through the active work of a living disciple. Like the well digger, this faith accepts help in working through its own suffering. This faith gives help to others in using the unique gifts that God has provided to the unique disciple. We live in a time of war between good and evil. It is a spiritual war that plays out in real events and real suffering. Our challenge is the challenge described in today's gospel. Jesus speaks to all of us through the Pharisee and the tax collector. Are we just happy Catholics, using our ideals to represent the Jesus that we profess to follow while remaining safe in our rituals? Or are we the Catholics who experience the pain of an imperfect world, who keep our faith because it is what we know? Are we Catholics who grasp our gifts and limitations, who are willing to engage the world and the evil in it, standing and engaging for the poor, the powerless, and the defenseless, because it is what we do? We, the suffering disciples, helped by the God who hears us as we live the example of the crucified Christ.